Hey, welcome to Endgame Club. This is going to be part 2 of our quick demo introduction video. So we went over in the first part setting up a channel, splitting your screen up into 2 parts, a little bit about talking and seeing who's in the channel and stuff, and then we jumped ahead to playing an endgame with these 2 wonderful commands here. That was a W20 or Wild 20 type game. I can repeat all that stuff and I can have it written down for you, and actually I wrote it down here as well, so I'll show you something. Once again, this tile vertically is pretty handy. Now Wombat wants to play. Blue Wombat, really strong player, by the way. So yeah, let me show you some handy commands. Okay, one thing you'll see at the Internet Chess Club is you have a kind of a friends list. This is also called the notify list. So you notice when I first came in, it says present company includes, and Wild Wind's there, and some other people, and your friends, your rival was noted by a couple people there. So now what? If you want to add someone, so you can say, oh, that Wombat seems friendly, let's add him to our list of friends. You type plus notify and a space and then the person's name. If you want to check anytime you want to see who's there, you can type this funny ZNOTL, and it'll show you that list again. You can also use help and space in any one of these commands. So again, everything in Blitzen is kind of old school. It's very powerful and it'll do lots of good stuff for you, but it works in a combination of stuff that you do with the mouse, and then we call it a command line, so you type in commands. Find me a victim. Okay, that's not a command. Well, anyway, finger is a very helpful command. Finger, and then the person's name, and it'll give you all of their different ratings. ICC has a 5-minute rating. It has a 3-minute rating. For some serious practice, besides 5-minute, you could play 15-minute or standard. When you want to talk to people, you can use the tell command. So if you want to talk to the entire Endgame Club or anybody that's around, you can talk here in the channel. And again, if you want to see who is in the channel, that would be INCH and 186. Now this is technically the Irish channel, so we're sharing a channel dedicated to Ireland. There's a number of country channels: Germany channel, Spanish channel, Irish channel. Anyway, but so for Endgame Club, we're going to be using channel 186 here, and that's one way you can talk to people. The other thing, though, so everyone will see that. The other thing is you can type a private message just to one person. So you can be like, "Hey, Blue Wombat, 1 second demonstrating some features of Blitzen for the Endgame Club." And that command is tell, T-E-L-L, space, and then Blue Wombat, space, and then whatever you want to say to that person. And a lot of times you'll see this message, which is just, you know, it told that person, but they're in the middle of playing a game. So, observe is a really nice command. You can watch the person play. It looks like Blue Wombat is doing some training. Yeah, he's got his own endgame. Wow. Let me minimize that. This is another thing. It doesn't say this on our list, but actually really handy. Using channels in Windows also Control Tab. If you type on the keyboard the Control and the Tab keys, you can switch windows. Okay, so this is another option. You can have your Endgame Club channel here, and then you can go, oh, I'm ready for my game. And then when you're playing the game, you shouldn't be talking to people anyway. You can just have your chess game, and then after the game, you're like back to the channel, and you're like friends, Wild Winds 1-0. We'll go over that when we start having tournaments. Anyway, Control Tab is a nice one. The commands for practicing or playing in games, showed you those, and you can use that finger command. And I put those. If you look at my notes, finger friends, you'll see those two commands. So you don't have to write that down or anything. Of course, that's 3 minutes and 3 seconds per move. So there's that. Post-mortem and kibitzing, you can talk during the game. I can show you that later. Let me show you the examine mode though. Whenever you want to, alone or with other people, you can set up a chessboard. You can do different stuff here. Clear board, it's kind of a handy command to know. And then you can go back to the mouse for a second and start having some fun. A little bit hard to go back and forth between this and clocks and things, but that's okay. Move some stuff around.
Check.
Now the other thing is you can do this nice command. Let's say you learn something interesting. You're like, oh, I want to save this. The command for that is live keep exam, and you'll see that's LIBKEEPEXAM. Anyway, one of the tools you have with the Blitzen or Internet Chess Club in general is a library. Okay, so first of all, you have a history. You can type the command history, and it'll show all these games that we just played. So here are my most recent 20 games, and you can see the one you were just watching on the other video, and so on. You could also start going, what if I went there, and stuff. So there's that. That's your history for a player, so history space friends. The other one is your game library, library space friends. And a funny thing happens, it says no such command. The command is lib, L-I-B, and then you will see really a very nice resource. You can save your favorite games of Blitz or Standard or whatever. 400 games you can save here. But not only that, this is a good resource because it's full of our endgames from last summer. Tournaments from week 0, week 1, week 2. I believe you'll find a bunch of Rook endgames starting at week number 3. So it says T3 Saturday and T3 Tuesday, also week 4. And so, for example, 71 here, see, Rook endgame. Now, there's nothing in there, but there is a blank position. And so, for example, you could challenge somebody else, or you could study this, or whatever. So there's some of the endgames from just the facts in particular are in my game library already. So that's a nice resource. And again, that's a resource for both just analyzing and kibitzing and studying with another person, or also if you want to actually do some sparring and you like practice against the other person, so your load game. Okay, what else? I think that's about it. There was one big thing I wanted to show you though before I get off the subject. Now, I strongly recommend taking advantage of one other feature at ICC, which is that it will save all of your games. Okay? So, from ICC, which is on the internet, it will save your games onto your computer. And you might think, well, you know, I'm just fooling around playing Blitz. Why do I want to save my games? But you'd be surprised. If you go to Game and Log My Games, you can get it set up. It's very easy to do. It'll just save into some folder. But But the thing is, for example, after you've played a few hundred games, it's very, very interesting to go into Fritz or whatever, Rubka, and then go into a certain opening, and then you can look at the 17 times that you got that particular variation from your log file. Okay, so after you've played at ICC for a couple of years, you're going to have a whole bunch of games, and you're going to be like, gee, I should have listened to Fritz that time when he said I should log my games. If you like data. Anyway, it's kind of fun to look at the results, see which one of your openings is working. There's a little inside tip. And then finally, one other thing. Anytime our endgame tournaments, for example, all of the endgames you play will show up in the history. Not to mention, if you take my advice, they'll be in the log file, but they'll also be in the history here, and you can right-click and examine games. But the other cool thing is, anything interesting comes up, you can be like, oh, you know, that game with Wild Winds, and I'm gonna I think I'm gonna make a file of games where I beat Wild Winds. So let's do that, you know. And then every time if I lose, of course, I'm not going to save that one. But no, seriously, you could make, like, in addition to your general log file where you save stuff onto the computer, you could, like, save anything that interests you, like all of your Rook End games. Or if you have a certain favorite opening, you know, oh, I think I'll save those. And you could make up a separate file just for those. And then right after the game, you go up here and you're like, oh, let's save that into the, you know, to study later pile or something. So that's a really handy tip, thing that I learned. That's about it. Again, stuff in Blitzen happens two ways. There are these pull down windows. You can change the colors and everything. And then it's also typing, so you can type commands. So there's that. And finally, you can definitely make these windows bigger or smaller, by the way. And there's not really any need to do that unless you're getting into, like, super fast. If you start playing 1-minute speed chess, it's kind of nice to have a small board, because you can reach from one end to the other with your mouse very quickly. Okay, thanks for watching the video, and I'm really excited about the Winter Clinic. And yeah, by the way, any questions at all, I'll be at ICC a fair amount, but also shoot me an email. I'm sure everybody has my email, but yeah, so we get started. We'll also have some time, you know, the first couple of nights when we have tournaments, we'll help everybody get the hang of it and stuff. So I'm sure it'll be good. All right, and looking forward to seeing everybody in the battlefield.